I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction. While the madness continues, and I'm beginning to wonder if I'm going to be able to make it until the first Monday night of April. This is getting really crazy. When it's all said and done, I think I'm going to end up looking like Dick Vitale, and that's a problem because he's about 35 years older than me, but that's another story. Let's talk basketball, baby. Let's take a look at the Villanova Wildcats. I think Villanova's a team capable of winning the national championship. I've got Villanova making it to the Final Four. I was surprised to see how lethargic they were against Robert Morris. And anything can happen. It's that whole one shining moment thing. Ultimately, I think it's good news for Villanova and their backers. I think that was the cold shower after the bender, so to speak. I think the coaching staff are probably secretly pleased. When it's all said and done, the coaches don't care whether they cover the point spreads. They want to win 6 basketball games and win the national championship. I think it was a great wake-up call for Villanova. It's a short price. St. Mary's is a nice story, but I find it interesting that nobody thought St. Mary's were going to be able to beat Richmond, yet now suddenly we have a 4.5, 5-point spread with the Villanova Wildcats, a strong 2 seed, and a team, as I just stated, who I think are Final Four contenders. When it's all said and done, I'm going to lay the chalk with Villanova. Let's continue with this theme. You look at the Butler Bulldogs. Hard not to be impressed with what Butler has accomplished. And I know that Murray State's a great story, and how can you not like a team called the Murray State Racers? And add Murray State to the legend of one shining moment, as we're going to be seeing that shot for decades to come. But ultimately, all good stories must come to an end. Remember how Cinderella ended? Not well. All good stories come to an end. And you look at Butler. Butler builds libraries. They buy books for their students off of basketball games like this. Butler had become a real mid-major power. Everyone talks about Gonzaga on the West Coast. Don't forget about what Butler's accomplished in the Midwest. I'm going to lay the points with Butler against Murray State. With all due respect to Murray State, I think the party is officially over. I was really looking forward to a potential Texas Longhorn, Kentucky Wildcat matchup. And I'm not a Texas Longhorn fan. I just thought they matched up well with Kentucky, and I thought they could give Kentucky all that they could handle. Now, Kentucky absolutely cruised through the first round. Now, we'll see how Wake Forest matches up. Very impressive victory for Wake Forest over Texas. They showed a lot of resiliency, and they're going to need it against Kentucky. Now, this number is just high enough to scare you away from laying it down, but it's also enticing enough to want to take the underdog. I think Wake Forest hangs around and surprises Kentucky. Ultimately, Kentucky's going to win this basketball game, and it's probably going to land right around the number, but I have a slight lean towards the underdog. Speaking of underdogs, did anybody see the Ohio Bobcats blowing out Georgetown? I know there are a lot of sharp guys out there, and there were a lot of cappers who liked Ohio, but Georgetown are a talented team. Georgetown are a streaky team, and ultimately I was shocked to see how Ohio manhandled Georgetown. What was so impressive to me is how Ohio was able to score. And when you got guys dropping 30-plus points, you got to ride the hot hand. Similar when you're at the casino and it's come up black 6 times in a row. Don't take red. Keep on betting on black, baby. Remember what Wesley Snipes so eloquently once stated, or I don't know, something like that. Give me the points. Give me the points with the Ohio Bobcats. Tennessee were lucky to survive against Steve Fisher, San Diego State Aztecs. Fortunately for me, San Diego State covered the number. Tennessee survives, although I think they're in tough. I think they're going to get all that they can handle from Ohio, and I expect another one shining moment type of situation. Give me the points of what I expect to be a very close basketball game. What I find interesting after watching a couple of days of this tournament is how the kids are just, killing it right now. A lot of times in the first couple of rounds of tournament play, kids are still getting used to the sight lines. A lot of these players are playing on neutral floors that they haven't played in before, and that's the that's what you get. That's the benefactor of being a high seed. Normally you get to play close to home, which usually means you're playing on a court that you're used to. Don't overlook that stuff. The regulation basket's the same height in every arena. Don't buy into that stuff. Kids get phased out and they get put off by new surroundings. But ultimately, the kids have been shooting the lights out. And where I'm going with this is I like the over in the Washington-New Mexico game. This is going to be an entertaining basketball game to watch. And speaking of Dick Vitale, if you got a pacemaker or if you have a heart problem, you probably shouldn't watch this game. This is going to be a frenetically high-paced basketball game that really could go either way. When it's all said and done, I think New Mexico are slightly overrated. Washington are peaking at the right time. It's going to be a great game. Instead of picking a side, I'm going to ride the total. I like the over of this basketball game. I'm having a great time talking college basketball, and I'm having an even better time betting on college basketball. I love the live betting. I love the halftime betting. I love the March Madness. I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction. May the winners be yours.